that is going to take you to Jersey Shore.
Show me what you're crying for. I'll wipe your tears on up. If you're so taking love, we'll come for you for sure. If we're caught in a wave, I will carry you over. It don't matter where you are, I'll run to your front door. When my head goes in different directions, you know my heart's never on the move. And in the dark times, you don't have to question. Find my arms where we are. You could put an ocean between our love. It won't keep us apart. You could build a wall, run it up, just to get to your heart. If we're caught in a wave, baby, we'll make a way. You could put an ocean between our love. It won't keep us apart. You could build a wall. It won't keep us apart. You could build a shadows play on idle hands. I lose myself if I do, but I find my way to velvet change. I'll crash right into you. If we're caught in a wave, I will carry you over. It don't matter where we are, you're still the one I choose. When my head goes in different directions, you know my heart's never on the move. And in the dark times, you don't have to question. Find my arms where we are. You could put an ocean between our love. It won't keep us apart. You could build a wall, run it up, just to get to your heart. If we're caught in a wave, baby, we'll make a way. You could put an ocean between our love. It won't keep us apart. You could build a wall. It won't keep us apart. You could build a you could build a keep us apart.
Happy New Year, everybody. Or well, it's going to be Happy New Year. Well, wow. I was expecting a little bit more after the original video. I wasn't expecting to start up right away, but hey, welcome to In My Opinion with me, Pro. Um, I'm going to have a special guest on from Jambone Pictures here pretty soon, but I thought stop by and say what's up to the masses here. What's up, everybody? Y'all ready for 2023? It's gonna be a banger, I hear. Um, because 2022 is so great for me, for the most part. I figure that we bring some optimism for the next year. But before we do that, I gotta rant a little bit. Um, there's this commercial. I frequent on Twitch a lot, So when you're not, and for those who don't know, when you're not subscribed to certain people and you just watch them for free, um, ads pop up, like pre-roll ads pop up, and I gotta say they are the most cringiest things I've ever seen in my life. So I went ahead and saved a clip of one of them that I just came through. And for those of you that just came in, Young Wolf, what's going on, bro? Currently watching the Atlanta Hawks game. That's cool, bro. Um, who's winning? I don't know. I don't watch basketball like that. But for those, just coming in, you guys get to have a little treat because I want to rant about this fucking commercial. I really do. What's going on, normal guy? So check this commercial out, guys, and tell me what you think.
I'll be right back. Don't eat my pizza. Really? Just gonna eat all my pepperoni?
I thought you wanted cheese pizza.
Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
Aside from the horrible acting, I cannot stand the way that chick eats a piece of pepperoni. I cannot stand that pepperoni, the way she eats that pepperoni. And first of all, bitch, there was one rule you had to follow. Don't eat my pizza. Pretty sure the pepperoni counts as being part of that pizza. I thought you wanted cheese pizza. You know what? Oh, I just hate the way she eats the pepperoni. Look at this.
I'll be right back. Don't eat my pizza.
Why does she eat it like that? Why does she eat it like that? Who eats? Who goes? Who does that? Just put it in your mouth. Better pizza, better bitches, better shoes, better everything. I don't understand that commercial and what it has to do with pepperoni doesn't enhance your gaming. It what? I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. What's going on, Kenny? Oh, I just had a rant about that. I saw that and I'm just like, what? I thought you wanted cheese pizza. You really thought you want? Yeah, you're so kind. Just the acting was horrible. The commercial is so dumb. I know she licked it up. Like, what? Why did she do that? Why did I can't. And now that's stuck and that's there. And that's there now. On my ready to go whenever I need it. So whenever I need a break, I'll just use that commercial. And you talked about it and it fucked me up. It fucked me. Look at this. Again, I'll play it for the third time.
I'll be right back. Don't eat my pizza.
Bro, did they CGI pepperoni? That should just like it went like right here and then it just disappeared. They had to take other takes. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've been seeing that ad so many times when I go into people's streams. And every time I'm like, oh, every time she takes like a fucking ice cream lick of a pepperoni, I go, oh my God. And then the guy's like, yeah, you really had to eat all my pepperoni? And then horrible acting. Like, you guys couldn't have done another take? I thought you wanted cheese pizza. Like, Ew. Just ew. Man. Okay. I will shoot you my address after this stream. But yeah, okay, guys. Um aside from that little rant, I have a special guest with me today. His name is Justin. I'm gonna butcher his last name. His name is Justin, and he's from Jambone Pictures, and he's here to talk about upcoming. From what it looks like it's going to be a wrestling comic book based off some footage that was found not too long ago. I feel like it was like from 2012, if I'm not mistaken. But everyone, please welcome Justin. And I'm gonna butcher your last name. How do you pronounce that? Cardullo?
It's Chardulo.
Chardulo. Gotcha. Well, welcome in, man.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. And it's nice that you filled me in last minute. Thank you again.
Yeah, it was really last minute. You know what? And it was so crazy because I was in need for a guest and I couldn't. I usually think about who I'm gonna have on a week prior, but last week I was just kind of chilling and Christmas and all that. So, by the way, how was your Christmas?
Christmas was good. Just spent it with the family. Out in Long Island, New York.
Oh, he's from New York.
Yeah, that's a real wrestling area, as we all know. Long Island. A lot of the diehard fans that go to the Garden come from Long Island as well. So it was nice. How about your Christmas?
My Christmas was good too. Really cold. Probably like yours. From the second city, Chicago. So we had a little bit of a snow, and but it was all good. Like I got to hang out with some family, and
That's good.
look at presents and shit like that. But yeah, no, that's good and all. You're like the 16th person I know from New York. It's crazy. It's like there's so many people that are in the wrestling scene from New York. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
well, it is that area, and for years it's always been a staple for years, and now you have other states following. I guess the New York lead, even got Texas is now rising in professional wrestling, which is great. That you got Booker T out there. You got so many states now that are just I guess capitalizing on that New York Thunder. I guess New Jersey, PA. It's just amazing how the whole country and the world is just growing with wrestling on the indie circuit. So it's just incredible to see that.
So before we get started on what you wanted to talk about, I'll ask the preliminary questions here, the basic questions, like
No problem.
what made you fall in love with wrestling at first?
Well, it's I guess just a lot of it had to do with the raw emotion of of the industry and the characters and those things. I think a lot of us fall in love with that because it's incredible how it is, especially it also takes our mind off of stuff and also helps us get through life. I feel it's professional wrestling is the greatest form of therapy. I pretty much knew that since I was a little boy. I got into it when I was 3 years old, and I came from a very rambunctious and meshed, Italian family. We came from old school Italian family, so we have so many characters and so much charisma going on over there. We always had a wrestling show at our family gatherings, even in our home or even the catering halls. We used to have parties and weddings in the Bronx. So
Wow.
I guess also you could say that my family also drove me to professional wrestling because we're all like wrestling characters in a lot of ways here. So, but it's just the raw emotion of wrestling is so incredible, and I just feel like it also draws a lot of broad people. We could have even lawyers and accountants that get into it because let's face the facts. A lot of us go through a lot of stress in life. Our 9-to-5 job, whatever occupation is, and a lot of times, the long-standing tradition has been let's go to the arena, and let me go see Stone Cold or Piper or someone to just let I want to put my frustrations into them, and then I want to let my frustrations out through them, and that's what the long-standing tradition has always been about professional wrestling, and I always regard it as not only a sport entertainment or just an industry, but the greatest form of therapy. exceeding exceeding anything in psychology. That's my opinion, and I know it will be debated by renowned psychologists, but I'm going to stand on that forever.
Well, you came to the right show, man. This is in my opinion. So, did you have a favorite wrestler growing up?
There's been a variety of them, actually.
Yeah.
It depends about the time. I would just say that a lot of the old school guys really were just larger than life heroes to me. Hogan, Piper, Savage, Flair. Then went into Austin, and then Rock, and then also Jake the Snake Roberts. But I also like a lot of the undercard guys. I took a lot of pride in mid card guys, and also I just someone always had something to give us. Even Barry Horowitz was always someone that we remember him. You see him at a convention. Oh, Barry Horowitz, let's go get his autograph. So no matter what the talent were, they always bring something to us, no matter what status they are at. It's just incredible. So I always had just a variety of guys I just loved, and depending upon what emotion I was at, especially in high school or college, I put those wrestlers in and say I identify like this guy today. If I got my heart broken, I said I feel like Kane when Kane got his heart broken by Tori. Yeah, that's true, and I just identified with that.
Wow. No, I do the same thing. This man over here, I don't know if you can see him.
CM
Punk. put all my frustrations, and watched him, and it was like, wow, I resonate with this guy.
Yeah, he gets real.
Yeah, it's real. And honestly, like even this year alone, with him coming out and saying, "I'm hurt and I work with children," it's like, me too, man. Like, damn. So, yeah, so I resonate with him completely. But okay, so let's get on talking about your upcoming project. I know from what I've seen, and I had a little bit, I didn't really have that much to research, but it looks quite interesting. Like I said at the top of the show, you are making a comic book from this current situation, and it went on for about 11 months, I want to say. But for those who don't know, do you want to describe like what it is, what the project is?
Yeah, so we'll go back to the inception, actually before even the documentary was released and even put on the festival circuit. We've been selected by over 19 international film festivals around the world, India, Italy, just a variety of countries that are actually growing in wrestling at the time. As we know, India is growing with WWE. It's amazing. That country's, just doing amazing things they're growing with wrestling and even coming up with indie promotions. And just all these countries around the world just, are just growing with wrestling. And I just love it how just in today's society too, we're all coming together slowly but surely as a global phenomenon. All of us are providing love and care for us more than ever. And I even see just that in wrestling around the world. But just to go further back, I mean, the inspiration behind the project started with my career when I was wrestling as Gia Savitz, which my Rainbow Pro debut on June 20th, 2004 from Massachusetts Underground Wrestling against Timothy, the boy next door, Pittman. So you see some stuff with Tim Pittman and I in the documentary.
Hold up. You're Gia Savitz?
Yeah.
There you have it. Okay. Continue. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So I guess we'll go over the character. It's an LGBTQ character, elements of being transgender, things like that. And at that time, LGBTQ characters weren't rising as much as they are now. We have LGBTQ promotions rising, and I've been watching their stuff on YouTube. It's incredible what they're doing. So at the time, a character like this, it was hard. I didn't work as consistent shows as others. I was taken advantage of, which I won't go into all the logistics of that. I was taken advantage of, lost money, put my faith into certain people that treated me like they were my father. Someone even threatened me with a lawsuit, which that was really not my fault. The gentleman did take advantage of me and made me promises, and it was the wrestlers who told me what the writing on the wall was. Well, a handful, that there were some promises that weren't made here. So being that character, I was showing, I wouldn't say what the character did this. I would just at the time, let's talk about me as a man, as an individual, as a person. I was just very benevolent, very benevolent. But what that character did is it was very therapeutic. It took care of me because at the time there was a lot of I was having a lot of insecurity issues. Needed a
Mhm.
lot of love from a lot of people. Fell in love with the wrong people. Found love in all the wrong places. The Gia Savage character took care of me. It was kind of like when Prince gets on the interview. Prince was interviewed with Oprah, and Prince says, "There's a Gemini inside of me. I got a female component of me that takes care of me." Prince stated that in a Oprah interview years ago. And the Gia character took care of me. So when I was a nervous wreck and having a lot of anxiety, I can even remember I began doing shows and even did like NGW, for example, which was a very, very was kind of like more of an underground promotion, but they had indie guys coming in like Johnny Cockstrong and things like that. So I remember I would have to put myself in that Gia role, which at the time it was just the Nomad, and then it just was Nomad Gia Savage later on. By the time it was the Nomad, but still the Gia components were there. I had to put myself in that role, and then like the anxiety started to diminish. It was kind of
Mhm.
like the Gia character was a lot of things. It was even like a counterpart where you even had a girlfriend with you. It was like Justin was dating a girl named Gia or things like that. Just to give you an example of how strong and how protective I was of the character and kind of how the character was protective of me as an individual. Um, and it was the inspiration behind the character. Um, I can't really go into. It's hard to go into so many details of that, of the inspiration behind the character. That's something we would have to go into detail later on. Right now, I think we need to just focus on the basics and the documentary, and then maybe later on, months or a year or two, we could go into detail. I feel like right now we have to go into really promotional aspects, but just to give you a brief detail how that character was strong and how therapeutic it was, it definitely took care of me. And I feel like a lot of times with our wrestling characters, they take care of us. And a lot of times we have to live the character because a lot of us, and I will admit, I've seen people in the professional wrestling business, they act tough, but a lot of the people I've seen in the past have come from broken down homes and they need a family, another family to love them. And a lot of times,
Sure.
as I said, I was taken advantage of. I trusted someone that I thought was like my father, like a father figure to me. And it was kind of like, and I could resonate and this I could relate to the other people in the business like this. It's kind of like our home lives. If we have a battered and bruised home lives, they never leave us because we put our trust in people we think are going to save us. And it turns out we're another victim. We're just a victim again. So there was things like
100%.
that. Yeah. And so when you see the documentary, you could see, especially with the NEWA promo in the documentary, you see the rage I had because of how hurt I was when I was taken advantage of. And George Adiello, the NEWA promoter, who I love to death, gave us the open forum. And you want to talk about CM Punk pipe bomb promos? I was doing pipe bomb promos in NEWA, and the reason why George Adiello gave me this creative freedom to do that is because he knows how a lot of us in the wrestling business are hurting, and he feels like, okay, you need to let your frustrations out. Do it. Go out there and do it because you're hurting. I hurt with you, and George felt our emotions so deeply. And at the time, there was no promoters like George Nadiello. Now we have more coming in. I remember the UWC promoter in Jersey. She's a sweetheart. You could tell she's like a mother to all the talent, and she's genuine to the talent. They love working for her. We got more of this coming in, which is good. At the time, it was very rare of that. They said, just work my show. I won't pay you. I'll pay you nothing. You drove 2 hours. I don't give a shit. Excuse my language.
No, you're
Um,
okay.
but George was not like that. George was so much to us, and he said, "You need to let your frustrations out." He did this for me, and also Lauren, aka Vane, who is in in our comic book. Just let it out. Let out what you got. And and so this stuff inspired the documentary. And when you see, and so my career was up and down. I got to work with Velvet Sky, which was good. I got to
Oh,
work with Mike
wow.
Bennett, which was good. Um, but then so all this inspired the documentary. But when in my career, I encountered a stalker named Frankie Firestarter. So when you watch the documentary, you see my career chronicled, you see my raw emotion, you see the glory, but then you see Frankie saw how benevolent I could get and innocent I could get behind the scenes or even in the ring. Frankie saw that, capitalized on it. It's like Arn Anderson used to take advantage of one body part to work a match, to work on that. Just watch his son on AEW Dark, kind of following that example, working on that body part. Frankie worked on one body part, my emotions,
Oh,
worked on that. And did he succeed? Yeah, he did. And you see that in the documentary, but there's a lot more to it in that documentary. And we have to also give kudos and props to the independent wrestling talent throughout the Northeast who really held that documentary together, because if myself and John Victor Ambrose didn't put the independent wrestling talent that I worked with in there, we wouldn't have as compelling of a story. So as I said, when it comes to independent professional wrestling, the promoter could quote unquote call the shots, but the people that really run the independent professional wrestling industry are the talent, from wrestlers all the way to valets and referees. I'm going to just point out, say that to you. Hats off to indie guys.
Did you receive any, I guess, since this character came in a time where the LGBT thing was not as what's the word? Not as showcased as it is now, like you said.
Yeah.
Did you find any backlash within the fans or from the fans at all? Or were they kind of accepting of the character?
There was a lot of backlash. Yeah. I even had like a 10-year-old boy at Black Bull Wrestling Organization show where I managed Velvet Sky called me a faggot. I want to say, don't mean to say that word on the air, but
No, you're good.
That was direct. I don't mean to say that in a bad way, but that was the direct word that was said to me. I'm not saying the 10-year-old boy anything bad about him, but he at the time that was a word being used loosely. Even now it's being downsized, which is great, but back then that's what I was called. I even had NEWA Frostbitten before I did my match with Vane, which is a female character. We were kind of like the double main event. I was on the big screen and we did an interview on the show before Frostbitten. So we used to record our interviews in NEWA at the shows before the next one. So you see me being interviewed by Rob Connor and I'm doing a heel promo. And we have someone in the crowd saying, "Go screw your boyfriend." We had some interesting things going on there. I'm lucky that my tires weren't slashed. I remember even my ex-girlfriend, ex-fiance at the time, Jennifer, was in the crowd and got easily offended by the stuff going on. And she even said, I got to tell my kids that, our father's a gay wrestler. And not that she was against it, but she couldn't believe some of the stuff that was being said to me, that she was heartbroken. And here's the thing I want to say: as human beings, we say things that we don't mean. And I know Jennifer said that comment about I gotta tell our kids our father's a gay, right? She didn't mean that against the LGBT community. She was thinking about her and I as a couple personally, what's going to happen, especially with this backlash and people saying these things that were hurtful. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. So
yeah,
I got nowadays when you say these things on an indie show, you get harpooned for it, and the promoters will come after you. But back then, comments like this were, say what you want back then. It was kind of weird.
You think that made you stronger as a character?
I guess it did, because, well, I tell you what I mean by that. I guess what I'm saying about that is that it kind of made it kind of also setting an example for all the LGBTQ people that we're having these comments, and I'm going to really speak out on this because I see it on all the time. What's beautiful about the LGBT community, and I'm going to say this right off the bat, is that they are showing signs of true love, and I'm loving it. I'm seeing so many beautiful LGBTQ couples coming out there. I'm like, wow, you guys are incredible. The way raw emotion real well. You're touching me more than ever now. But I'm trying, and I know they're also very sensitive people. And here's what I'm going to say, and I'm not. This is a beautiful thing. I'm sensitive to and fragile. I'm going to say this right off the bat. Okay. I acknowledge you and I love it. That's power. Embrace it. I'm embracing it. So what I'm trying to say is that it made me stronger, kind of like, okay, you can't stop me. You're saying these things about me,
Hmm.
but this is actually beautiful. A lot of this is beautiful. A lot of LGBTQ people are proud of this. So I'm seeing things on the internet right now about people getting hate comments, blah, 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 and they're taking it too literal as if like their life is doomed. What I'm going to try, I don't want to say this to the LGBT community right now. I'm saying this as your friend here, not as your enemy. Just embrace it in a way saying, thank you, I love who I am, but you have to understand, here's what you have to tell yourself, understand these people are going through some crazy shit in their life too, and they're trying to take it out on your happiness. So if they're feeling miserable and they're in misery, they're trying to put themselves out of their misery. They're trying to obtain your happiness, put it in them, and then their misery is going to be transitioned into you. You got to really recognize that. I would just ignore these comments and these bashing. It's not worth it. Or even the young people going on social media getting easily offended. Don't even bother with it. It's not worth it. I'm
And
saying this as a friend.
I've seen, many of LGBT wrestlers take it in stride too. Effie, who's one of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Anthony
Yeah.
Bowens.
Yep.
Um, uh, Jamie Senegal.
Okay.
Just to name a few. They take it and they don't care.
Sunny Kiss too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, you gotta. It's kind of cool how they're taking it now. That it means nothing to them. They're gonna be who they're gonna be at the end of the day, and no amount of words or anything like that will change their mind.
And they have
So
exactly. And they have a career and a job to fulfill as well. So they're realizing that, personally, my personal life is one thing, but my professional life is one thing. And as we're seeing a lot of LGBTQ, look, Anthony Bowens is AEW tag team champion, co-holder of that, which I love
yeah,
that tag team. The Acclaimed, I love the Acclaimed. I think they're a great tag team. They really rev me up in AEW. I get on my feet. I love them. So, excuse me. So it's incredible what's going on now.
but so getting back to the comic book, we kind of went off there for a little bit,
Yeah.
but so what are we looking? So the documentary is already out
On Vimeo on demand. Yep.
on video on demand.
Vimeo.
Okay,
Yep.
I may have to check that out. Of course, this was last minute, guys. I apologize, but I may have to check that out. So the comic book is inspired by that documentary.
Yep.
Okay. Are you in the creative process in that at all?
Yeah, with the Ballad of G and Frankie comic book, I co-wrote it with the executive producer, director of the Ballad of G and Frankie, John Victor Ambrose, and the Legacy Comics editor-in-chief CEO, Patrick Hickey Jr. So we put this thing together, and so we wrote it and then co-wrote it, all three of us. And the artist, the head artist, is Josh Adams, who's an incredible comic book artist. Now, the Ballad of Gene and Frankie comic book and documentary are there's some unparallels to it. The comic book's a little different. It's very much just very inspirational, and it's for everybody of all walks of life, all around the world, very inspirational. And and it just shows, no matter what, we have to come back and fight to continue with life. We can't give up. I mean, I'm one who has been through 7 mental hospitalizations and 3 suicide attempts, including even having pills down my throat, having my stomach pumped in the emergency room. I'm going to just admit that right here.
Wow.
So, do I regret suicide attempts? Absolutely. It was not even worth committing suicide. So what this comic book tells us is to always try to fight back and just be resilient and come back for more, because that's what life is. And a lot of times in life, we're going to get depressed. Okay. Depression a lot of times happens for a reason. There's times I get depressed. Why? It's happening for a reason, because certain emotions have to come out here. If we're concealing too many emotions, sometimes our depression gets the best of us. Recognize that. It's not worth suicide. Is not worth it. We're given a life for a reason. And if there's no real signs of us really supposed to die, there's no need to think about that. If we're feeling depressed, embrace it. Sometimes depression can be a beautiful thing. We recognize beauty in others when we go through depression. That's one thing I have to say. So the comic book is it's a very raw, a lot of more raw emotion, inspiration, a little more inspiration, resilience about what to do about your pride, your passion, your dreams. And also going along with my wrestling career. And you see Vane from NEWA is in it. Frankie Firestarter, of course, is in it. It's just a lot of it. And it's an 8-page comic book promotional for the Ballad of Gia and Frankie. But there's a lot going on in there. It's a little bit, as Patrick said recently, it's a little bit of Karate Kid. You got some M. Night Shyamalan stuff in there.
There's some twists.
You got some old school professional wrestling with a twist of the new. You got so many things going on in there. Realizing, finding out who you are. It's more than just professional wrestling. It's just reality, but also shows with all this reality components around wrestling. It kind of says professional wrestling is definitely a real life thing, despite what media outlets have said, beginning with John Stossel in 2020. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. It just but definitely I recommend check out the documentary and comic book, both of them. But you're going to see, there's parallels and a few unparallels between both.
I gotta have you on again when I watch and see the comic book. Now, is it up for sale or is it there for free for people to, or is it coming out soon?
Well, we have right now the pre-sale.
The pre-sale
on legacycomics.com. And we should definitely try to share the social media and the other websites, eventually, and have share this with the public as well and your followers.
Of course.
So Legacy, that's comics is COMIX for them. LegacyComics.com has the pre-sale for the Ballad of Gia and Frankie comic book, and we have 2 covers. We have the default cover, which is an incredible cover, and then we have the variant, the Valentin Quinones cover, which is based on the one of the traditional Wolverine covers. So we got that.
There you go. That's
badass. So we have 2 covers, and the Valentin Quinones cover is very interesting because it really shows the more of a visual of me as Gia Savitz, specifically from NEWA with the blonde wig.
Yeah,
you see the ring in the background, and then with the default cover, it shows Frankie Firestar. It shows Gia kind of like in a masculine form, and then you see Gia with the wig on in the back. So the covers are incredible, and the pre-sale is up, and we're getting sales coming in. We're getting even people from internationally, Germany. We got a sale from Germany coming in. So we're trying to grow. We're trying to grow this globally. We're not trying to grow a domestic brand here. We're trying to get through everybody because we have confidence that, especially today, everyone is getting a very broad global mind, especially today, compared to when it was my generation. So we're trying to grow this globally, and the fact that we even have Germany fed into it and fed into it, as far as I know. Patrick didn't mention everything to me, but he mentioned Germany. I don't know other countries, but Germany was mentioned. So we're just growing this globally, and just definitely go to legacycomics.com to definitely do the pre-sale.
Legacy Comics, guys. No, it's a really great and powerful story. I'm surprised it hasn't gotten a lot of leeway as much as it has, because this is the first time I've ever heard of the story.
Well, I'm going to say that. I mean, we did have meetings with streaming services. We did meet with Jeff Jarrett and his podcast Heat originally to try to work something out. I know we didn't finalize a deal. That's okay. I'm very happy that we went the Vimeo on demand route, and I'll tell you why. It makes you work harder, because I feel like Jeff Jarrett, I know, and this is not a shot at Jeff Jarrett. I love Jeff Jarrett. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But what I'm trying to get at is that when we try to go ultra corporate right away, initially, I feel like maybe we're tied too much. Our vocal cords are taken away from us. Not a slap in the face to Jeff. But what I mean by that is that we may not value our hard work as much. The fact that we started with Vimeo on demand, I feel like it made rev us up more and made us think more outside the box. And I see a gradual improvement gradually happening. There were times I told Victor Ambrose, I said, I think we need to pull the plug on this because I just don't think it's working. But we still believe. But he said, he tried to convince me, no, you shouldn't think that. I see improvements. You just got to be patient, Justin. But and we are improving. Why? Because we're thinking outside the box, and we're looking at other avenues. And the comic book was something we have to talk about as another way to get ourselves out there. We have to think about marketing. We can do social media marketing for so much, but a lot of times it doesn't always up the ante. We got to think about other things and bringing out other outside companies. Patrick Hickey, I found out from Legacy Comics on a news show he was on, and he was an up and coming company. He was established last year, and already he's growing and did Kickstarter and everything. And look, he's growing and growing and growing. And we have more resources today to keep working hard with the internet, with social media. Who else to contact? Back then we had to contact some Hollywood module, whatever. So we got Hollywood tycoon, and if we didn't get that, we were down on our luck, and we were waitering and waitressing, and then we went to our grave, never accomplishing our goals, sad, depressed, and misery. And we have to be happy in life, and God gives us our dreams, and God gives us dreams and goals in life to fulfill. And there's times we die miserable and unhappy. I've seen people in my family being miserable and unhappy because there's something was missing. That's because we didn't maybe fulfill what we were supposed to fulfill in life. And I'm going to say this right off the bat. My Chardulo family, I'm sorry about this. I love you, but I'm just going to tell you the truth because there's times you guys ain't happy. So we have to keep working hard on the dreams. And if we seem like we're down and out and we feel like we suck, think about the passion and pride you have in your heart. If that's still there, you still got it. But remember, you got to think outside the box. And the fact that we didn't get accepted by any major streaming services and we went Vimeo on demand, I'm very, very satisfied. And I know John and Patrick will definitely agree with me on that.
You contacted probably one of the best pro wrestling podcasts today, right? So I appreciate that.
Welcome. Welcome.
And to tell a little bit of your story, and I mean, obviously you guys need to check out the documentary like I do to learn about it more, but to kind of give your like background of the story and stuff like that, give you a little bit of your time it means a lot to a lot of people. And I'm sure what your story, it means a lot to a lot of people to just overcome the stuff. I do have to ask one more thing though before I leave you here. So at the beginning, I watched one video and it looked like you had a mask on. Was that done? Was that you, or was that done on purpose?
Let me ask, was this the blonde wig?
That was not the blonde wig.
The mask. That was probably Frankie Firestarter. I think you were talking about.
That was Frankie Firestarter.
The villain. Yeah, Frankie Firestarter came out with a bunch of masks, and it was kind of like the modern day Black Scorpion.
Okay.
When this guy was, when Frankie came after me, I said, I feel like Sting, and I feel like this feels like Black Scorpion. And I will admit, I was telling someone earlier today about this. I actually had fun with this. I had fun with this because it felt like that traditional element of, because we're not seeing too much of this now, that professional wrestling storyline that kept us on the edge of your seat. Like, I love Sting and Black Scorpion. I feel like I'm getting glamour. I'm getting drama. I like this. I'm appreciating it. I'm enjoying it because I haven't been getting this recently at indie shows. I'm embracing this no matter how much danger I'm in. But was I scared? And was I scared too? On the contrary, yes, I was. You could see it in the movie. I was scared, especially when I was on WTF TV Live in 2014. Yes, I was terror-stricken and frightened.
Well, all right, Justin. I guess we're gonna go ahead and cut it here because I gotta have you on next time. I gotta watch the stuff next time, I swear. And then I'll be more well versed and I'll have better questions. But I appreciate you contacting me and wanting to come on and tell everything about this this upcoming stuff. I will put the links down in the description. Those are the ones you sent me, correct?
Yeah, you definitely put those in. Those are perfect. And
Okay.
I gave you the pre-sale ones as well. So, yep, you're all set then. That sounds good.
Excellent. So, do you have anything else to plug before you leave?
Yeah, just one more thing. Just everyone, never give up on your dreams and passions. And if you feel like you're down and out, but you still have that passion raging in your heart, don't give up, because I'm sorry to say this. I've seen this in my own family. A lot of us are old at 90, unhappy, and have emptiness. So all I got to tell you is my family's a great example of that. Unfortunately, just don't give up. That's all I can tell you.
Amazing stuff. All right, guys. We're gonna get out of here. Till next time. Have a good night. Enjoy NXT. Peace.
Junior Watanabe on my ex strippers, new killers, shot.